All right. Hi, everybody. My name is Richard.lesperance. I go by the name of my man, Richard. Welcome to A Better Lifestyle. Today, I have the pleasure to have Mel Stubbs with me. Mel is a financial planner and he's doing some great work in the financial industry. He has a book coming out. Talk to us about, well, first, welcome Mel to the podcast.
Yeah, good to be here.
Great. So, talk to us about the book and why the book now at this moment.
Yeah, so we help federal employees plan for retirement and kind of get all their ducks in a row. And it's kind of a complicated system with the federal government. And so we've gone over the 10 decisions that they have to make at retirement. Getting any of them wrong can kind of mess things up. With everything that's going on now with the Doge and people getting let go, early retire. So there's just more people interested and looking for help. And so that's mainly what we do.
Okay. And you talk about some of those principles are applicable to people that are not working in the federal
Yeah.
on the federal side. So talk to us about those. I think there's eight of them or nine of
Yeah, I
them.
think there's about 8 of them that would still apply. The first one, like when to retire. I guess, you got to make sure you got enough money. Are you ready to retire? Are you able to retire? I mean, that's definitely one. A lot of people have life insurance with their company. What do you do with it? Sometimes at retirement, it gets really crazy expensive. So should you get something else, whatever to do with that? In federal world, they got a TSP, the thrift savings plan. Regular people got probably a 401k or whatever way you save money through your job. What do you do with that? Do you leave it at the job? Do you move it out? Some of that type stuff. The big one I love talking about is tax planning. Should you pay the taxes now? Should you wait? Like what is that? Should you do tax planning? At least here in the US, you got Social Security. You get to decide when to turn that on, different ages. And so, thinking through that decision. Should you get long-term care? Do you just pay for it out of your own money or do you get long-term care, some type of coverage? Um, let's see the other one. Should you work with an advisor? Obviously, that's near and dear to my heart. Should you get help, work with somebody? And then the big one, what to do in retirement? What do you do with your time? That sort of thing.
Okay. So how could the people could navigate those things properly?
Yeah, I mean, the best thing is just to be aware of it. Like, at least know it's an issue, know it's a decision. Nothing's worse than like you don't realize you have a decision and you did and you decided maybe poorly. So thinking through some of the stuff up front. We do a lot of YouTube videos on the subject, write blog, just get information. That's why we hadn't had a book in a while, so started the book. But just being aware of it, figuring out what you can be doing in gearing up for retirement is a key thing. So a lot of what we do is educate people and like make them aware of things they probably haven't thought of, and then hopefully bring value to them by not only alerting them of the problem but helping them fix it. We say a lot of times that I would rather be at the top of the cliff, warning you don't go this way, than being at the bottom of the cliff doing ambulance service. So can we warn you of some of these things up front and let's plan for it before it really happens?
Do you think most people will have enough at retirement?
Well, there's most people and there's the people we talk to. So most of the people that are calling us, they're calling us because they probably have enough. Their problem is they might be overtaxed or some of that type of stuff. They need help planning. They don't have experience with the $1 million. What do I do with it? I'm sure lots of people probably don't have enough and do have to keep working. But the people that seek out our help, most of them have enough. Got a little squeezy thing here that says, I'm holding up a little rock that says enough. And if you're nervous, you can squeeze it. But most people have enough. The problem is, uh, you know, taxes, being overtaxed, making sure your beneficiaries get the right stuff, just getting your ducks in a row, making it as good as it can be.
What do you think? Because inflation and the cost of living is everywhere around the world. What do you think about the opportunities that people have right now? There's certain opportunities that people could tap into, especially we have the internet now. People could be you have the creator economy, you have AI there. So what do you have to say about that for people who want to make extra money
Yeah, and
or to have a side hustle, as they say?
sure. I mean, most of the people we're working with that are at retirement age, probably half of them want to work because they realize I don't want to sit on the couch all day. I need to go do something. The other half are through with working. But in our world, where that comes in is, not getting your money too safe too soon. Like you still need to earn some money. Like stuff's going to keep costing more every year. So your money needs to keep earning enough to not only keep up with inflation, but like actually let you have more money. And so every once in a while we meet people where I want my money to be super safe. I don't want to take any risk, but if you live another 30 years, we need some of your money to still earn some. So we can't get too safe. I do have clients that they do have a side hustle. I've got a lady that does stained glass. And she, I mean, does fairly well. So, if you have a side hustle, we would recommend, one of the decisions of what to do in retirement, we kind of recommend whatever you think you're going to do, go ahead and start it while you're still working. That way, whenever you do retire, usually in the beginning of doing something, it's kind of rough. Like it doesn't work very well. You got to go through all the rough spot. Go through the rough spot while you're still working so that when you retire, you're kind of already doing pretty good at whatever your like side hustle is in retirement.
So when someone reaches retirement, how is that, let's say they have a side hustle, how does that affect their income? Let's say if they have a 401k and all those stuff.
Sure. So if you turn on Social Security early, and so when we say early, I guess full retirement age is somewhere 66 or 67 for most people. If you turn on Social Security after that, no issues, go make all the money you want to. But if you turn it on early, there is an earnings limit. And I think right now it's around $24,000 that if you earn more than that, they start to take it away. So if you are working, earning money, you probably aren't turning on Social Security. But other than that, the income, it just gets taxed like income. And so for lots of people where you'd have to start taking out distributions from your 401k, I mean, if you're working, maybe you don't have to do that. So that lets the money keep accumulating. Um, and so it's just taxed as regular income. It's not really penalizing in any other way.
Talk to us about the importance of financial literacy.
Yeah, I mean, I guess lack of understanding this stuff can, harm people. It can make the retirement not be that good. One of the things we're trying to alert people in, even in the book on the TSP decision, like the 401k for federal employees, there's a weird loophole that like if the husband dies and leaves the money to the spouse, all is good. But if the spouse dies and leaves the money to somebody, it's 100% taxable all in 1 year. And that's crazy. Like that's bad. You don't want that. And so understanding some of these things, your 401k, if you're listening, like what are the rules? Are there some loopholes there that you're not realizing? Getting some of that right, uh, you need to know it. There's benefits in knowing it. And if you don't want to learn it, that's where we get into the should you work with an advisor? Should you kind of delegate that to, I don't want to figure this stuff out, but I trust you to help me get somebody to do it for you.
What about people who, let's say, in their 40s or 50s, they had misfortunes and they're starting all over financially? What would you have to say to those people?
I mean, compounding interest is key. I think I forget who, but said it was like the eighth wonder of the world, compounding interest. So I mean, you've got to start saving more, I guess, immediately. Probably limiting your lifestyle now in order to let you save more. If you can get used to limiting your lifestyle by saving more, then when you retire, you're used to a limited lifestyle, and that makes the math work easier. Uh, I mean, just I guess maybe not going through a financial struggle, just like the average 40, 50-year-old, you need to think about should you save your money traditional, where you're going to postpone taxes, or should you save it in Roth, where you go ahead and pay the tax, and then later it will be tax free. Um, that's a big decision that I think younger folks are more likely to want to go for the Roth route and do the tax-free route, where some of the people we're meeting at retirement, like they don't have any Roth, and that could be a problem.
You also talk about financial planning versus having a financial plan. Talk to us about that.
Yes, I mean there's a financial plan, and then there's like actual ongoing financial planning. Somebody in our industry, like we say we're a financial advisor, but he says we're actually a financial advisor. We need to do a plan to see, if you and your spouse live into your 90s, do you have enough? Like you need to know that. We'll do that type of plan. We'll also do a plan if like one spouse dies, is the other spouse going to make it till their 90s? Like we need to make sure that's going to work out. And then we'll do a plan on taxes of if you leave your money traditional where you're going to pay taxes later. I mean, let's look and see what that looks like in the future and how much taxes you'll pay. And then let's look at a plan of starting to shift the money little by little to Roth, a little bit every year to see what that looks like tax wise. Usually, if somebody's got 500,000 or more, there can be a big savings by doing some of that planning and going ahead and pay off the tax man now. I've got another thing, it's a wad of money looking thing that you can squeeze and it's soft when you get nervous, but it says on there, no longer theirs, and theirs is actually the IRS. So we're trying to do plannings to like not send the IRS more than we have to. So coming up with a plan, realizing there's a problem, and then having a strategy of, what do we do every year to implement this plan? Lots of people either don't know there's a problem, don't know what the fix is, and they don't have the steadiness or the willpower is a great word, but they don't implement it. They need somebody to help them with that. That's where we would step in.
We also talk about, I heard about financial independence versus financial freedom. Talk to us about that.
Yeah, I mean, being able to do what it is you want to do, some people want that. We also are coming from, a biblical perspective. Our company is one that, the Bible's got, I think it's like 2,400 verses that deal with money or your possessions. And so, there's financial independence, but we're still, dependent on God. But I mean, yes, if you have enough money, it does free up things where you get to do what you want to do. And for people that are at retirement age, a lot of times they spent their whole career trying to be successful and obtain success. If we can show that they have enough, and now you can kind of do what you want to, is there something that you'd rather do that has more significance? Do you want to help teach young kids how to read? Do you, want to go on mission trips? What do you want to do that you think is more significant where you don't have to worry about money? If we can help show that you have enough money, it frees them up to do what they think is better. And for a lot of people, that's, the freedom or the independence they're looking for.
For entrepreneurs, let's say entrepreneurs, someone is choosing that path, that career path as an entrepreneur. Sometimes when they start like in their journey, it's not that simple to establish a financial plan or a plan financially for them to be financially to have financial security in their life. So how would they navigate that?
And you're talking about somebody starting their own business?
Yeah, exactly.
Well, I mean, I think there's business planning, get the business going, and then there's kind of I want to exit. Like, I don't want to do this anymore. How do I get out? I mean, we're more on the retirement end of how do I make my money pay for stuff now? I mean, the business planning, getting your business going, I mean, it's probably, business specific what you need to do. It's probably rough at the beginning. It doesn't pay enough. It probably should start as a side hustle until you get it big enough. But like the skills it takes to build up a business and build up money are not quite the same skills as now that I have this money, what do I do? How do I be the best steward I can be with this money? I think it's a little bit different skill set there. And that's more where we come in to help people.
What do you think most people are not aware of when we speak about retirement and setting up their finances properly?
I mean, the big key that we focus on, or I guess I've chosen to focus on, is the tax planning, where for so long people have been programmed to, I'm going to defer taxes. Like I get paid a paycheck. Instead of me getting paid my paycheck, I'm going to put it in my 401k. It's going to grow, hopefully. And then when you take it out, it's still your paycheck. And so it's taxed at your tax bracket. And some people get bummed out. Like, what do you mean I got to pay taxes? Well, remember, it was your income that you put in there. And if taxes get worse, you've got to pay taxes at whatever later is. 20 years from now, when I take the money out, I got to pay taxes then at whatever that rate is. And if that rate is nasty, it could be nasty. And at least in the US, the highest tax bracket that was the worst it ever was 94% back, I think, in the 50s. Ronald Reagan was president. Well, Ronald Reagan was making movies and he was getting taxed at 94%. It was crazy. I think during the 1970s, the top tax bracket was 70%. And so it's kind of come down. So actually today's tax rates are pretty low. And so it might make sense to go ahead and let's pay off the IRS and get money tax free so that as it grows, it's never taxed again. That's a big thing where we can show, actual dollar amounts of if we do this, you will save this much money in your lifetime. And it can be a big number for a lot of people.
So your book is coming out. Do you have other books, or this is the first one that you've written?
It's the first one I've written. I work with Christy Capital Management, so they've had a previous book that it was still on federal retirement, but it was more on the like nuts and bolts of how your pension is determined by you take your high three times a certain percentage. And it was very, uh, like a college book or a textbook. This is more, we're not getting into the numbers of like how your pension is determined. It's like when should you retire? Let's talk about the decision, the different decisions that make up the decision. Think through that type stuff. It's less about specific numbers. So hopefully like the book's not going to go out of date. It's not like next year the numbers in there are wrong because there aren't numbers in there. It's more thinking through the decisions. Getting all the decisions right, you can have the best retirement that you can. You mess up a few, it won't be as good. You mess up several and, it could be really not good at all.
Any last words you would like to add in regards to that for retirement?
Yeah, I mean, if you know a federal employee somewhere and they need help, send them our way. That's definitely our niche that we help with. We can help anybody. We've got a YouTube channel that you can kind of watch videos on, or the book is on Amazon where you can go there. I know it's kind of specific being about federal employees, but hopefully some are listening.
Where can people learn more about you and follow you?
Yeah, christycapital.com is our website. You can go to this little button, you can do talk to an advisor, where you can, reach out if you want to talk one-on-one. There's, I think it's youtube.com/Christy Capital Management is the YouTube page. And then I don't know, maybe we can have a link or something where they can get to the book if they so choose. But christycapital.com is where they can find us.